So I'm going to try to share with you a little bit about why T-shaped individuals are an imperative for industry. And at heart, I guess I'm a physicist. So I tried to think, what are the two sentences that describe really what this is at its essence? And why do we want it in industry so bad? And I came up with two sentences. And why industry needs T-shapes. And the first thought was people. We start with people, because T-shapes are all people, with different specializations and experiences find it difficult to talk to each other. That's the problem. If you know, again, Professor Lou Freund has this beautiful set of charts before he goes into his T-shaped measurement workshop, which he's developing with ISIP, the International Society of Service Innovation Professionals. And it keeps getting better and better. Thank you, Lou. Your measurement system's getting better. But if you look at this, it's about the difficulty that we have in coming up with these complex systems innovations in our world today that require teams. His charts show the innovations of the 1800s. And you look at it, some of them you say, one person could have come up with that invention, built it, and started a company. But you look at the innovations today, you know, look at our computers on your laps, the smartphones. No one person could possibly come up with a system that complex. And if the future is going to have even more complex systems, we're going to have bigger teams building them. So it really starts with this observation. People with different specializations and experiences find it difficult to talk to each other. Now, but what can we do about that? To solve complex challenges and speed up the rate of discoveries, you heard Jeff Welser talk about our accelerated discovery lab here. You know, we're multidisciplinary people that know a lot about systems, finance, transportation. They all work together. They're in they're sort of like a beautiful space, an inspiring space where they work together every day on big data solutions and other types of solutions. But to solve complex challenges and speed up the rate of discoveries, people from different disciplines must communicate with each other efficiently and pool their expertise effectively. And that's what we tried to do with your breakout and work groups today. We tried to pool your expertise and your diversity so that we can get new insights. Now, this is some interesting data. And Barbara Chow, who's in session 5, she's going to show you, she's got the updated data. So they did a more recent study. But I like this study very much because Levy and Murnane talked about the new division of labor. So all the occupations, that little descriptions of what are the skills you have to know to do this occupation. And they coded the descriptions, the sentences in these occupational descriptions over a period of time, and they noticed some important trends, which are obvious and not surprising to any of us in the technology industry, but they have the data to support it. And what they found out is that the routine manual, the routine cognitive, routine manual is like, pick up those boxes and put them over there. Routine cognitive is add up this set of numbers. Those are decreasing. Even the non-routine manual. That's like watching a group of kindergarten kids, non-routine manual. Those are decreasing. But what's increasing is complex communication and expert thinking. Complex communication and expert thinking. That's their terminology. So what this means is you can think of the depth part of the T as the expert thinking, and this complex communication as the breadth part. And one of the things we're hoping, and if you follow the hashtag TSummit 2014, we've asked people around the world who aren't even here to contribute by if they know research about T-shapes, if there's research in this area. It could be, you know, Gartner calls them versatilists, so we won't always say T-shapes. We're asking people to tweet all the reference material that are relevant to understanding T-shapes with more rigor. The thing that is really exciting, I think, is if we look at the next 15 to 20 years, the interactions that we're going to have are going to start becoming very, very different because of these smart machines, these cognitive systems. When IBM built Deep Blue, Garry Kasparov, the grandmaster chess player, was defeated by a machine. And 2 years later, he invented something. Does anybody know what he invented? I'm just curious. Anybody here? 2 years later, he invented freestyle chess. Freestyle chess was a person and a machine, or a team of people and a team of machines that play each other. And what came out of that is some of the greatest chess, most amazing strategies ever conceived of. Because there's things that machines are really good at that we're not so good at, and there's things we're really good at that the machines aren't so good at. So when we think about the world, you know, as we're graduating T-shapes, more T-shapes into the world, they're going to be living in a very, very different world. And we have to factor this in. This is why we gave everybody here a copy of this book. This is a big change in the, as Martin Fleming, our chief economist at IBM says, this is an infrastructure change. This is like electricity or the railroad, or you heard it, you know, oil. Data is this new resource. And there's going to be such an abundance of this data that we're going to need these smart machines, these cognitive systems, to help us be a better doctor, to help us be a better researcher, to help us be better parents. We're going to need this to find the best opportunities. Where I see it evolving as we get more T-shapes in the world is towards this concept of cognitive sport. Because if you think of, you know, Phil's slide where people are taking that jump into their career, we don't want them to be leaping into this scary thing. We want them to have more experience of what is it like to be in industry. You know, what is it like to work on a team project similar to what Susan was talking about. You know, there's no shortage of really important problems to solve in the world. In fact, you heard it from me, there'll never be a shortage of important problems to work on. As long as there's plenty of problems, people and teams and machines will continue to work on them. So, cognitive sport, academics, industry. Academics, ask yourself this question. Do your courses require team projects? Do your courses require team projects? Well, I'm teaching a course that, you know, I can't imagine how you'd have a team project in my course. I hear that. Are the projects real-world open innovation challenges, real-world data, real-world tools? Are the student teams multidisciplinary? Are industry coaches involved? Do faculty have multiple industry relationships over multiple years? This is like the state we would like to get to. Industry, now us. Do your employees' annual evaluations include coaching student team projects? If not, why not? Because not only do you, when you get your students working on real-world problems, our employees benefit from that. They see other perspectives. I won't go through all of these in the interest of time, but many, many times what I've found is universities come to me and say, Jim, I've got a team of students, they want to work on a real-world problem, they need an IBM coach. Can you find me one? Only 50% of the time am I successful. And then I go to my friends at other companies and say, hey, you know, I couldn't find an IBMer, would you like to do this? And I'm not successful all the time there. So industry has to change as much as universities or higher education, because community colleges are important too, if we're going to reach this state. We have to figure out how do we get that industry participation. That's why we wanted industry and academia here. So, here they come. Get ready for them. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to Michael Gorman.
Thanks, Jim.